title of the speech is the 1Acorn Project Press Conference. This is a 5 to 8 minute presentation. Welcome to the lectern, Toastmaster Daphne.
We cannot build a future for our youth, but we can build our youth for our future. I'm here to speak to you today because there's been a concern brought to my attention that not everyone supports public speaking in our middle school. I want you to know that children who meet regularly with a mentor are more trusting of adults and of their parents. There are 52% less of them to skip school. There are 46% less likely to start using drugs. They're 37% less likely to skip class. They're 27% less likely to start drinking alcohol. So why wouldn't we want to introduce public speaking and mentor programs to our youth in our local middle schools? I have a nonprofit organization called the 1Acorn Project. The 1Acorn is an acronym for Achievement, Communicator, Organizer, Reliable, and Necessary. Our youth are necessary to ignite our future. They need to know that they have value and that they have worth. And the way we do that through the 1Acorn Project is that we meet with them on Mondays, once a week for 1 hour and a half, where we explore their abilities to plan, increase their experience to be able to use interpersonal communication skills. A lot of times our youth are texting and they don't have that one-on-one conversation with each other. We don't want to lose that lost art of communication. So an 1Acorn project is a project that will be very useful to our youth so that they can grow in the area of communication. The importance of interpersonal communication begins when they begin to know their own personality and yet their own communication style. Most of us learn our communication style from the time that we were small children. It is important for our youth to know that there are communication styles outside of what we've learned within our own community, our own home, and our own environment. And that's what the 1Acorn Project will allow them to learn. They will learn how to improve their skills. They will learn how to build their own personal self-value, their own worth, their own self-esteem. They will learn how to plan. When they come into the meetings, they learn the power of persuasion through using their voice. So we're teaching our youth how to use their voice in a very powerful way to impact their community, to impact their schools, and to ultimately impact our future by using their voice. At this time, if there are any questions, the floor is now open. Yes, Zach.
Hi. Zach Perez, Club 28 News. How many students do you think your program will be able to reach in a given year?
In a given year. Currently, we're working with 6th graders from age 10. Currently, we have 6 students, but we can max out at 16 within a year. As that student goes through the program, the first half, the following year when they're in the 7th grade, they get to continue with the program all the way through their middle school experience. Thank you for that question. Any other questions, Susie?
Yes, you talked about the percentages of 46% less drugs, less skipping classes, less alcohol, etc. this program in place to come up with those numbers?
Thank you, Susan. I would like to take credit for those numbers, but I cannot. These numbers came from an organization that have done a blind study on mentorship programs. And because the Acorn Project falls under that umbrella as a mentor program, we can adapt these numbers and use it as a benchmark to continue to bring out our project. We have been in operations for about 9 months. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jack Jones, concerned taxpayer here. This is why we have teachers and coaches in the schools. You throw out these statistics. How are you qualified to do this? This is where our tax dollars go.
Thank you, Jack, for that question. Being a parent myself, I raised 3 daughters. Part of their life were in public school and part of their life was in private school. All of my children currently are adults, but I feel the need and desire to reach back and help our future youth go forward. The nonprofit organization is sponsored by donors and people of the community that would like to support the program. So it doesn't cost the tax dollars anything. It is completely a volunteer program, so it doesn't cost the taxpayers.
Thank you.
Are there already speech classes in the middle school curriculum?
Very good question. To my knowledge, there is no other speech classes in the middle school. However, there is English, there is literature, there's other opportunities for them to speak. But what the Acorn Project will allow the student to do is that it's an after-school program. They're volunteering to come in, but it allows them to be able to speak in a non-threatening, supportive environment. And we use the Toastmasters interpersonal communication model. It walks them through every process of how to prepare a speech, how to give a speech, and to have confidence in that speech. Thank you. Yes.
When I was growing up, I was abused as a child, as you know, and I was not believed, so I was put into a place where there was placed me in foster homes, etc. And I did skip school a lot as a result of that, and I did fail the 10th grade because of that. So I didn't get the chances that most people do get. And I was terrified to speak in front of the public, absolutely terrified. To do what I've done is amazing, coming from where I came from. And then I have another question for you. What again was your acronym?
It's A is for achiever,
Okay.
C is for communicator, O is for organized, R is for reliable, and N is for necessary. And I'd like to piggyback on your question in terms of being subjected to the foster care environment and how you felt in terms of having a voice to be able to speak. That's what the Acorn Project will allow each student to have, that place where they can process and they can learn that what they say and how they feel, they'll learn ways that they can express those thoughts and those feelings, their desires, their dreams, their concerns, and this will give them that voice. And when you have a voice to speak, you have power of persuasion. Thank you. That's